Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's watch party for In Search of Darkness for Gremlins. It's our Christmas party, our Christmas watch party, and I'm joined by a selection of the CREATORVC gang. We've got Dom. Say hello, Dom.
Hello, Dom.
Say hello, Carla.
Hey.
Pointing downwards. And diagonally, we got Robin.
Lovely to see you all today. Thank you.
Big Boss Man's joined us as well. Hello everybody. So guys, we're going to have an amazing time tonight. This is going to be a bit of an informal watch party. It's going to be a lot of fun as we watch Gremlins. This is a real classic movie and we'll get this out of the way. Dom and I were just discussing this before we did the stream. It's a Christmas movie. If you live in America, it did come out in June, but in the UK, it came out in December. It's set at Christmas. It's a Christmas movie. Would you all agree with me?
Oh yes,
It
definitely.
makes me feel Christmassy, right? And I was talking about Gremlins today with my wife, and saying, is it appropriate movie for my nearly 6-year-old daughter? I think it is.
It is rated 15 in the UK.
Is it really? Okay,
It is, but it's been watered down when it's been shown on TV quite a bit in the UK.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, because I don't remember it. I have not seen this movie in 25 years. But I remember loving it as a kid.
Exactly.
Yeah, me too. We watch this every Christmas, and I know that it was supposed to be released in December in the US, but Warner Brothers wanted a film to go up against Indiana Jones and Ghostbusters, so they pushed it up to the summertime. So this was meant to be a Christmas movie in the US, but they just pushed it up.
Well, Sharon has just said that it was a parental guidance recommended when it went out in America. So that's kind of good enough for me.
Yep, there we go. Okay, well, let's get into this Christmas classic. So if everyone is queued up, just as the Warner Shield is getting ready to fade in, so they all start about the same place, on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, press play. Let's dive into this classic. Even the little the Warner fanfare, I love the way it just blends into movie themes. So, as I always say when I'm doing these watch parties, when did everyone first see this movie? Let's start with Robin.
I don't know. It's like I've known it forever. It's one of those movies that I know I've watched many, many, many times, especially as a young child. So I'm reckoning about 9 years old, that kind of thing. So I remember getting there was a booklet and a cassette tape associated with the movie. And I remember getting that and listening to the tape and reading the book.
Obviously, was it one of those turn the page at the beep or something pages?
Yeah, it was.
It's unusual in that it's got some quite scary stuff in this, but there's a lot of kids merchandising stuff associated.
But do you know what? That's what's amazing about these movies, right? We were talking about this just before we started. We were talking about Watership Down. And I think of that as being a kids movie, but it's like super dark. Like I've got a theory that all the best kids movies, like from when we were kids, all like have like mega like dark stuff going on as well. That's what makes them so great, I think.
Definitely sticks with you.
Just going to say, guys, we're also being joined by an amazing gang of people on our YouTube channel in chat. We've got James Hellier saying it's as Christmassy as Silent Night, Deadly Night. Alex saying it's not appropriate. They were traumatized when they watched it at age 6. And Dislodge says, I don't know, that chimney story might be a little brutal for a small child.
Okay. Hey, well, I will take that all under consideration as a irresponsible parent. So. Yeah.
Oh, and Joey Andrews, we completely agree with you there. 80s horror is the best, joining us on Facebook. Now, I love the
I remember when I
Diamonds
first
film.
saw this movie.
Go on, when did you first see it, Dom?
I went to a friend's house, and this was the friend that had an older brother with all the VHS tapes that I was never allowed to watch, which is odd because in my household, I was allowed to watch things like, that family movie Extra and other classics like Return of the Living Dead and other very family-friendly movies. But I didn't know about Gremlins until I went to his house and he put the movie on and he said, this is a secret film that you can go to the playground afterwards and tell all your mates you've seen. And yeah, it surprised me because I didn't think it would be as spooky as it is. It starts off with this really Spielbergian like whimsy to it, and it just descends into chaotic madness. Look at this. There's gags.
I love the gadgets. I remember this. Like I haven't seen
Yes.
this in years. I remember the gadgets guy.
The bathroom
dad.
buddy.
Yeah, but the bathroom buddy, I don't want to be nasty, but it's basically, he's just made a Swiss Army knife just with everything from the bathroom on it. And I don't know about trying to... Yeah, but I don't know about trying to clean my teeth with something the size of a brick.
I wanted the bathroom buddy as a kid. I thought that when I learnt to shave, I'd need it.
It's a very 80s contraption, though. I'll give it that. It's the kind of 80s tat you would have found in the Argos catalogue, Robin, isn't it, in the 80s?
I think you can go online and I think you can find archives of like the Argos catalogue from sort of the 80s, and it's actually quite fascinating viewing.
So we need to explain, Robin. We've got a lot of people joining us from abroad.
Oh, how do I explain Argos? Argos was a kind of department store in the UK that really got popular in the 1980s, and they would send everybody a big catalogue of all the merchandise, and you'd walk in, and each thing in the catalogue would have a number, and you go like you choose what you want from the catalogue.
Right. It was unusual in that it wasn't. Yeah. It was a department store without actually shop floor space. You literally was just a load of tills and a desk.
Was it like a till and a desk in a warehouse?
That's it.
Yeah.
You'd go and write out a big catalogue what you wanted, and that would be what you'd pay for, and they'd go and get for you. But
you take it to a kiosk, it will go on a conveyor belt, and your item would come out of the conveyor belt. It's like, yeah, my numbers come up.
But it was a very Christmassy thing. The Argos catalogue as a kid, God.
Yeah.
You started reading that about September, circling the things you wanted
with your big red marker.
Do you know what I associate with Christmas is fantasy movies.
Oh yes.
Talking of which, you see what I've done there?
Oh, very well. Very good.
Okay.
Subtle segue.
Right. Yes. So this has been. I'm just gonna look. If you just want me to be quiet, right? I'll be quiet, and we can talk about exactly what's happening on the film. But if you want some news about,
I think the audience who've joined us here, they're our hardcore, they're our fans. Go on. We've got the big man here.
Okay, so this was a massive week for us because this week, for everyone that's a backer on our 80s sci-fi documentary, basically we have confirmed the premiere. I booked the cinema in Hollywood for the 19th of February. This is a project that's been 3 years in the making. Over 75 interviews, over 11,000 backers. So it's the biggest project of my entire career, and making that happen and getting to this point where we've got the premiere book, the film is in the final stages of post-production now, and I love it. And I think it's the best thing we've ever done. I cannot wait to share it with you all. It was really huge. But what that means is, because of the way we run projects, we have like a pipeline of ideas, and we have to start projects much, much earlier before we can even begin crowdfunding them, to make sure they have the sort of maximum opportunity to be successful and reach all the super fans. So our project that we've just started putting the wheels in motion for is called In Search of Legends. And In Search of Legends, and if you go to insearchoflegends.com, you can sign up to the mailing list to find out more news about that kind of stuff. But it's going to be all about 80s fantasy movies. And we've just started doing the social media. The social media handle is at 80s fantasy doc. And it's going to be hugely exciting, and I cannot wait. So with each project we do now, we learn, we iterate, we get a bit better. And so by the time we launch In Search of Legends, which won't be until 2023, I want to have brought like a whole community around it. And this brings me to the other thing. And Andrew, kick me if I go on too long. Okay.
Okay.
Right. But this brings me to the other thing. Like it's been such a wild journey the last like 3.5 years, and watch parties and all that kind of stuff. And, I didn't realize how important the community, what we're doing here today, is to the people that are here today. Like it,
Yeah.
I kind of misunderstood, and we've sort of had some internal meetings, and we're really, really going to double down on community and become a very community focused outfit. In fact, that's going to be critical. The other element to that is how well the In Search of Darkness Part 3 campaign went. It went amazing, and we've had many thousands of people take part in that survey. So where the kind of vision for CREATORVC is where we can say, rather than just like, we're going to do this, do you like it, will you come along, we want to, the vision is actually, our backers, you guys, this community will tell us what you want us to make.
Yeah.
And so in the future, we're going to bring you ideas and get you much more involved in the development of not just the community and the activities we do, but actually the productions we work on. And
well, I think it's very important to mention, Robin, In Search of Legends was always, it was on the table for a while, a fantasy doc was, but this got pushed forward because of the demand from community.
Yeah, 100%.
Because we've been listening to what you guys say.
Exactly.
That's actually true. I wouldn't have started the ball rolling on that if you hadn't have prodded me, Andrew. And there's a few. So the other thing I want to mention, and then we can sort of talk about the film, is that everyone who is known in the community, and all our super backers and all the people that have been in the advisor circle, I'm going to reach out to you in early January, because I'm going to conduct a series of 4 kind of intimate consultation Zoom calls where the limit of participants is 25 people max, to sort of talk to you about our pipeline, talk to you about the roadmap for CREATORVC, get your input on what we want to deliver, because there are going to be some very cool changes happening. But essentially, we've got something great here, and we just want to make it bigger. We want to bring more people like us into this. And at the heart of what we're doing, we want it to be something that just brings like-minded people together. People where the films, this era, not just 80s, but 70s, 90s, all the best movies within that, but across genres, action, sci-fi, fantasy, horror, can all come together and just hang out and have a good time, but also feel like they're part of creating these mega docs, these love letters to the scene. And that's where we really want to be in. It's going to be very exciting. So that's what I wanted to let you guys know. I'd love to get your thoughts on that. But if you're interested in joining me on a kind of almost 1-to-1, it'll be 25-to-1. In fact, kind of a bit more intimate Zoom call where I can go through the whole plan. Let me know. But the big idea is about making our backers drive what we're doing. So be able to come to you with ideas and say, which idea do you like the best? You tell us, we're here to serve you. It's not like we're just coming up with ideas and going, let's do this one. Like we really want this to be kind of a self-contained unit. So we're not worried about anybody else outside our backer base. And I think, within 12 months we can be there.
Exactly. Got a quick question from James on YouTube, and I don't think he's being entirely serious here, Robin. When are we going to do In Search of Michael Winner?
Well, that will go on the list. We'll put it to a vote, and we'll see what the people say.
Okay. Right, getting back to the film, we're seeing Mrs. Deagle here. Now, this is quite interesting. I wasn't aware of the actress's work being British, but those in America. She used to play a waitress in a sitcom, and her catchphrase was "Kiss my grits," apparently. I'm not sure.
Yes, Alice.
That's it. But
yes.
She played a very similar character, but most of her scenes were deleted in Mrs. Doubtfire, where she plays the busybody neighbour who basically snitches on Daniel to Miranda while she's at work. And there were a lot of scenes where she's being very similar to this that were deleted.
Does she have an equally villainous and bumbling theme song like she does in this?
She doesn't, I don't believe, but she's still quite the nasty neighbour. Oh, and go on,
Attaboy, Barney.
I'm going to say now, Carla, I know this will be on your trivia list. That dog, where have we seen that dog before?
Yes.
Have we done a watch party for that movie yet?
No.
Ooh.
But we
Pass
have
it to
done
the audience then.
we have done a watch party with the movie with an actor who was in the movie with the dog.
Recently.
Quite recently.
Quite recently. Yes.
Don't suppose you know where Mushroom the dog is from, Robin? Beyond this movie? It is Mushroom, right?
It's a real dog, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That would be the most amazing,
Sorry,
puppet.
just to interrupt for a second. We're seeing a cameo. There's definitely a Joe Dante film. There's a cameo from Chuck Jones in there. The legendary Warner Brothers animator. Sorry, back to Carla.
Okay, so the dog, I do recognise the dog. It's not like Benji or something. Who? It'll be one of those films. Annie.
Nope. It's from a horror movie.
It is from a horror film.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, let's see.
So, should I tell?
Well, Lizard Man's right. Any character that threatens a dog gets put on the list hard.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we go. We've got the answer in the Discord.
Kudos, David.
Okay,
Kudos.
Yes, David Pumpkinhead.
Mm-hmm.
And the hint was Lance Henriksen. That was the hint. Who was in Aliens?
From Watch Party, Aliens.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Jesse Flores in the YouTube chat has just said, looking forward to In Search of Legends, just signed up.
Thank you. Thank you, Jesse. And thanks for your support as well.
We're having
I
a
missed
Fast
those pub
Times.
glasses.
Having a Fast Times at Ridgemont High reunion here.
Yeah.
What
That's
happened
awesome.
to him? Like, is he still acting?
What, Judge Reinhold?
Yeah.
Well, strangely enough, he's this is his first Christmas movie.
Not his last.
No, because he became a staple in the Tim Allen Santa Claus movies.
Didn't he do the one? Was he in Vice Versa?
He was the dad in
Yes.
Vice Versa as well.
Yes. Robin, you're my hero. I can't believe you referenced that movie. I thought I was the only one
Fred
to see it.
Savage. Was it him and Fred
Yes,
Savage?
Him and Fred Savage.
Okay,
So
what
it-
category? Like, okay, so this I've been asked this question loads. Right? Are you ever going to do a comedy? Like one, and I've always been very resistant to that because you don't really get comedy conventions. It's not quite clear where we could sort of find the fan base. But when you think about it, like the 80s was like the decade for kind of awesome comedies.
It was.
Yes, some of them would not fly today,
No,
but yes, it was.
Okay, I'm gonna die on this hill here. I think It's a Wonderful Life is overrated. I'm sorry.
The lovely film. You humbug, you.
Yeah, I like that movie. In Search of Laughs, Mad Matt. Yeah, that's not a bad title. The thing is, though, like we had a real nightmare trying to come up with a name for In Search of Legends. Originally, it was In Search of Wonder. Then there was like a whole bunch of other names, and it was David Weiner who actually came up with In Search of Legends, and it just sometimes this stuff just
I'm
works.
sorry.
Actually, it was Dom.
Was it Dom?
Yep.
It was the other DW of CREATORVC. Yeah.
Sorry,
First he
Dom.
steals my initials. Now he's stealing my credit.
Sorry, Dom. I do apologize. It was you. Wait a minute.
was.
Double whammy, right? Okay, I'll make it up to you. You came up with the name In Search of Tomorrow.
I did. I didn't get In Search of Darkness though. I was against that name.
Yeah. Well, I came up with that one, but it was only because Ollie Harper and me figured out the name for the action doc, which is In Search of the Last Action Hero. So it made sense.
It's a classic
to do
name.
In Search, and we'll that's become its own little thing now. But I don't know what to call comedy. Like the thing is, In Search of Laughs is a bit like saying In Search of Horror. It's a bit too literal.
Right.
Yeah.
So what, and this could be, someone's got some great ideas about what to call a comedy one. Funnily enough, in my bookshelf behind me, I picked up a book that I haven't read, which was all about romantic comedies.
Rom-coms.
Yeah, but I thought this would be if I was ever going to do a documentary based on a book, it would be this. Yeah, Sparky
say
John was
we've
saying
got-
in search of humor. Humor's too much of a technical term. It needs to be like, I don't know how to describe it.
Just go back to the film. First, I've got Neil in YouTube chat saying, "I'm not alone. It's a Wonderful Life is overrated." And secondly, I just want to say, I think their living room looks like it's hotter than it's one of them houses you walk in from outside, and it's hotter than the center of the sun when you walk in.
Yeah, so cozy.
My favorite thing in the world is my fireplace, and it's like my domain. It's almost like a ritual when I go and get the firewood and the kindling.
Oh yeah, you're the dad of the house, Robin. So you have to dad the fire, don't you?
I love it.
I've got that as well.
Search of
Oh,
giggles.
Well, Andrew, it's
Matt,
funny.
You're getting better.
It's
improving.
funny that you mentioned
Keep
It's
going.
a Wonderful Life because Joe Dante wanted this movie to be a mix of It's a Wonderful Life and Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. So that's what he was kind of going for, with this kind of picturesque community town, Christmas town that gets overrun by creatures.
Yeah.
I'd say if you put those two movies in a blender, this would come out. Yeah.
Could you imagine how awesome the trailer would be for like a comedy documentary, like from the 80s?
Yeah.
So
Be
you'd have
chasing
like,
each punchline.
yeah, it would just be like, from Police Academy to Trading Places to coming, like just all
Porky's,
the
Revenge of the Nerds. Oh,
yeah, like you could just have so much
Naked
fun.
Gun, Police Squad.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the way
There
he's
is-
shaking.
Yeah.
Oh, Gizmo's gorgeous.
He is.
There is a running gag in my household currently because, as you're aware, I have a new puppy, Little Bones. But at nighttime, he always goes completely insane and tries to eat every one of us. So I think we should stop feeding him late because he becomes a total gremlin. He's such a mogwai in the daytime, but when night happens, oh god.
Oh, it just reminded me. So it's Mogwai,
Mogwai.
and then it's Gizmo. No,
Gizmo
Gizmo
is a
is his
Mogwai.
yes, he's a
Yeah.
Mogwai.
Yes.
and
Gizmo
so
is
when,
a Mogwai.
so when he actually becomes the gremlin,
He
Well, he
doesn't.
doesn't.
He was supposed to.
Two.
He was
Okay.
supposed to, but
I have seen. I told you it's a while since I've seen, but this is the thing about practical effects. Doesn't that look good?
Yeah.
It
That
does.
looks
It stands
amazing.
up so well.
Now, if
Oh
they had
my
done like a
God.
CGI version of this in like the mid 2000s, it would already not look right.
right.
It would look bad by the late 2000s.
it would it would look like American Werewolf in Paris. The
Oh, I've never
CGI
seen that.
in
I've
that
never seen
movie
that.
is just
Don't.
atrocious.
Yeah, it's not a good film.
Oh, here we go. Look, he's adopting.
Hannah's absolutely right. Gizmo and the practical effects are so unbelievably cute. They look great.
Hey, it sold toys like mad. Everyone wants a gizmo.
Well, Sharon's saying, thank goodness this was not a CGI movie. Well, back then they would look like the ships out of The Last Starfighter,
Starfighter,
unfortunately.
exactly. Did anyone in the chat have a Gizmo doll? Or I had a Gizmo doll. Did anyone in the chat have like Gizmo doll or Gremlins toys or anything merch from back in the day?
Very cool.
So I had a Furby that I called Gizmo. That's because I'm a tiny 90s baby.
The merchandising in the 80s was insane, wasn't it? They had like
Oh my
Rambo
God. It really
toys
was.
and Aliens toys and Robocop
All
toys.
marketed towards kids.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. No one cared. Yeah.
There was a Saturday morning Aliens kids cartoon developed that was never released.
Well, there was a Starship Troopers Saturday morning cartoon series as well. I think it was called Rico's Roughnecks or just the Roughnecks. But I couldn't believe it because as a kid who watched Starship Troopers, I just flicked onto Fox Kids and saw Starship Troopers, the show. It was great. I couldn't imagine any other child watching Starship Troopers.
Talking of Starship Troopers, I went this year. They had a Paul Verhoeven triple bill at the Prince
would've
Charles
loved that.
Cinema, and
So,
it was
RoboCop.
Total Recall, and
Yeah.
Starship Troopers. And I'm a massive Verhoeven fan, but I thought like 3 movies in one hit, like that's going to be, I might tire. I tell you what, I didn't, and like Starship Troopers still bangs.
Oh, it's still a favourite of mine.
Oh my
Absolute
gosh, mine
favourite.
too.
Would you like to know more? Oh, that orange looks horrifying.
I like the dad in this. I really like Rand Peltz or Randall Peltz, the dad, by Hoyt Axon. I really like the character, but he invents things that you can buy from any store. For the most part, you could buy a juicer. We see a coffee maker.
He also can't hang a sword. Like every time that door gets closed.
Oh, I'm going to go back to Carla now. Carla, tell us the trivia about those swords.
I don't know the trivia about those swords.
So those exact swords were used later on in the series Angel. In the series Buffy, when Buffy and Angel have a sword fight. Those exact ones were.
Oh, interesting.
Oh wow, Corey. Another thing about this movie, and it's that you get this with a lot of 80s films, and I don't know enough about the sort of camera technology. But like the feel, the warmth, the color of the kind of cinematography. Yeah. I don't know. I miss it. I love that. It's like you can't recapture that, or I haven't seen it recaptured authentically. Maybe Donnie Darko did a good job, actually. That kind of warm kind of feeling. And Sparky Johns just said all the space battles in Starship Troopers still rock. They do 100%. Yeah.
I miss seeing attics like this, like the kid's bedroom or the son's bedroom being like the best place in the universe. This looks so cool. You got Road Warrior posters everywhere. You got a TV hanging from the wall.
They're talking about Donnie Darko, right? And I have to say, Donnie Darko, if someone held a gun to my head and said, pick your favorite movie ever, it's Donnie Darko. I'm just throwing that in there.
This is a very 80s movie. It has the posters, like Don was saying. Yeah. They're playing movies inside of the movies. Yeah.
It's got Corey Feldman.
Yeah, Corey Feldman.
It's quite real. It's realistic though for the 80s. It really is. Corey
Feldman was he impressed Steven Spielberg in this one, and that's how he got Goonies.
Goonies, yeah.
Well, here's a thing though that so Jesse Frez on YouTube says, I have a full-size prop replica of Greta from Gremlins 2. That's the lady gremlin. It's very cool. But James Hellis says, Gizmo is very influenced by whatever he watches on TV. Good job they didn't show him horror films or The Deer Hunter. Well, don't forget, in Gremlins 2, he watches one of the Rambo films. It's Rambo 3.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's very influenced by it.
Yes.
This is awful, this bit.
Yeah.
It looks so painful.
Very painful.
Oh, so I remember this. This is the first batch of Gremlins. Oh, David, that's props to you for the Donnie Darko tattoo. I do want to say this. If I could find a really, really good alternative poster art of Donnie Darko, I would buy it and I would frame it in my office.
Going back to the movie for a second, that moment there where the camera goes Dutch angle, that's the first sign of any horror. And it's just the lighting and everything just makes it more sinister. The music, that subtle camera shift just changes the movie completely.
Mm-hmm.
And you know the bad times are ahead.
They're all singing. They look like tribbles.
What's a tribble?
Yep. Star Trek.
Oh, God. Okay. Where's Kick? Where's Kick from the Zoom call?
Yeah, okay. You can... Come on, Andrew. I won't be offended if you mute me.
And with the $11 million budget, they use balloons as the eggs for the baby Mogwai.
Yeah.
And who can tell? It works so well.
I know, right?
You can tell it's a peak 80s film because it's got a Corey in it.
Yeah, it's got one of the Coreys.
Exactly, one of the Coreys.
Oh, look at Gizmo at the back looking so sad.
I like that idea of like 80. I like the idea of a Corey being a thread through 80s cinema. And it reminded me, you could do a not necessarily a long form documentary, but you could use that in some piece of content as a way to sort of relive some of these films and look at them in new ways. The other guy, of course, is Bill Paxton, who what do they say? Like he was killed by an alien, a Terminator, and a Predator.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the only man alive. Oh wait, Lance Henriksen's now been. Has he? Right. I can't remember. When was Lance killed by a predator?
No, I don't think he
one of
was.
the-
No, he was.
Wasn't
He was.
in
'cause
AVP.
In one of the
AV
Aliens and Predator movies, yeah.
He's in
Yeah.
one of those. Yeah.
But also Bill Paxton has done a lot of stuff with camera behind the scenes too. So he's either on screen or behind the screen in 80s films.
Didn't he work as a carpenter on The
Mhm,
Shining?
on he worked as a carpenter on one of
Was
those
it Galaxy of Terror?
corner films. Yeah, Galaxy of Terror.
Galaxy of
yeah.
Terror, I'm pretty sure. Looking at this, I've just realised something. I think Billy got turfed out his bedroom for it to become his dad's inventing room. That looks very much like a bedroom, which is why
Like a
Billy now lives in
bedroom,
the
yeah.
why he now lives in the attic.
Yes.
But the attic's so cool. This is what I didn't get about Home Alone as well. Like, he was so afraid of going in the attic, but it was the coolest room in the house. It was awesome. This giant bed, big space.
So James
Oh,
on YouTube is
who
saying
had a Donkey Kong?
Oh,
You
one
see-
of those. No, I didn't.
You didn't? Oh, I had one of those. Oh, this movie is so 80s.
But James on YouTube is saying all the other Mogwai are bad, so is Gizmo the only one who's faulty? And as Rovan Gelm, forgive me if I'm saying them wrong, saying they aren't bad, they're only crazy. There's all stuff in the book, and I don't know whether or not it was just made in the book to flesh out or not, about, you know, them being a bit different. Oh, did he just vomit across the
Yeah.
room?
I spit, I think.
yeah, he hocked a loogie. The
Yeah, there was a-
subtitles says spitting, so there you go.
Yeah. No, there's like in the novelization, like Andrew was saying, there's this whole origin story about Mogwais and how they were an alien species created by scientists, but there was a glitch in the creation. So only 1 out of 10,000 remains kind and sweet and cute, and the rest
Aw.
turn into little
Oh wow.
demons.
What's Gremlins Recall?
I've not seen Gremlins Recall.
Gremlins Recall.
Oh, we're also joined on YouTube by Kevin Bolt, is it? Say hi, Kevin. Oh, it's a fan film. I've not seen that.
Oh,
We'll have to look at that later.
Nice. Thanks for the post, David.
I do want to know how they managed to do that to Barney.
well, you know, that was a puppet. That wasn't a real dog.
Oh,
No,
good.
sorry, I don't mean as in what they did, as in
Just
the actual
actor.
dog, as to how the
Like where they got the lights from? How did they?
no, as to how the Mogwai managed to lift a full, even 4 Mogwai managed to lift a full-sized dog
Oh.
up that high and wrap him in Christmas lights.
Wow.
That's the hammer that Homer Simpson invents, isn't it?
Here we are, another crap invention. Because you could buy coffee makers everywhere in the 80s, I recall.
Yeah.
But could you get stuff that excreted black sludge? I like my coffee dark, but that's
What
That's a little
vegetables?
bit-
Is that an artichoke that's dancing on the worktop with crocodile clips and probes in it?
yeah.
Okay, why not?
His wife must have the patience of a saint, I swear.
Yes. Nightmare Beast Gaming. The first time I really paid attention to Bill Paxton as a serious actor in the 90s movie Twister was one of my favourites. I really enjoy Twister.
I need to
love
revisit Twister. I went to the
Oh
cinema
my
to watch that.
gosh.
Yeah,
a teenager.
Twister. In my employment history, Twister's quite a special film for me because I saw it at a premiere hosted by a company that made the first computer DVD drive. Because Twister was one of the first films on DVD, and we were invited to a cinema where they showed Twister played by the computer on a projector. But it's getting a 4K release in 2022.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Is that a fabric pocket protector that he has?
Might be. Or Hannah Rose Artist saying, Ghostbusters 2 is one of my favourite Christmas movies.
That's another one that I
Oh,
need
yeah.
to watch. I remember I used to have the computer game on my Spectrum. Ghostbusters 2.
Well, Lizard Man's right. Isn't it technically a New Year's Eve movie?
Oh, that's Dick
Dick Miller.
Dick Miller.
Yeah.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Exactly.
Has anyone seen that doc? The doc's really good, the Dick Miller.
The doc is extremely good. Yeah, highly recommend it.
Oh, that's a good one, James. James is coming up with some slices of gold here on YouTube, Robin. In search of disaster movies. In search of disaster. In search of tragedy.
I want to make. I was thinking this in the back of my head. I don't think the In Search of would work with a comedy genre in terms of a title. I can't think. I think it would need to be named something else, unless someone comes up with something brilliant on this Discord right now.
I've got a brilliant name, but unfortunately, I think it's probably being used. Chuckle Vision.
Yep. No.
No.
Only the UK people understand.
Yeah. To me.
To you.
Oh, Neil saying, worked in the theatre at the time. Twister was released opening weekend, was insane, which echoes what Sparky John said. Twister is a great film. He remembers working in cinema as well when it was released.
I just remember that cow was showing up in everything, every commercial, every spoof. From
Oh, yeah, there were so many spoofs at the time, weren't there?
I've got to imagine as well, right? This is all filmed on the Universal backlot in California, isn't it? And it's quite warm there.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
I should imagine it possibly wasn't very pleasant being dressed for winter.
For winter during
there.
summer.
Yeah. Dislodge on YouTube says, in search of levity.
The thing is, right, do most people not understand what the word levity means?
That's the problem.
They might think that's what happens when you drink too
search of
much of the
punchlines, in search of
bubble
laughter.
juice.
Now, to take a serious
Laughter
note from the movie at the moment.
Sparky John. At least that's creative. Okay.
Just to bring everyone down a little bit, what they're saying in the movie is quite true about Christmas being a very tough time for many people. So just remember this time of year, always be extra kind to everyone around you because you don't know.
Exactly. You know? Exactly. So this movie preaches that, and One Magic Christmas definitely preaches that.
I can't do that one again, Carla. I can't do that one again.
You can't do that.
No. I'll say the fake snow they're using is really good.
Yeah.
You know, the chemistry between these two is basically what got Zach Galifian, is that his name? The part?
Galligan, yeah.
Galligan, because Emilio Estevez was like the lead to get this role.
Wow.
And Judd Nelson was second, but yeah, there were Emilio Estevez, and then they saw him test with Phoebe Cates, and the chemistry was just so good that they went with him. This is his first film.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt, props.
Yeah, Mad. That's also why Phoebe Cates almost didn't get cast in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They didn't want. They were like, this is supposed to be a wholesome family film, and the girl that went topless in Fast Times. But I don't know if they could have gotten any other actress to tell the story that she does later on, the way she does it.
We'll get to that. Just to say with this film, looking at these scenes here, the cinematography and the lighting in it is super.
The Tina, like the whole thing is just like, it's just so.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about Donnie Darko earlier. Like that's the only film I've seen recently which recaptures that. I don't know what to call it. That vibe.
Yeah.
Well, this definitely has Spielbergian vibes to it, and knowing that Chris Columbus wrote it as well.
Yes.
It's such a warm movie.
Mhm.
Well, as I tell you what, when we do come to do In Search of Legends, we do fantasy movies. There's a fantasy Christmas movie I can't wait to do, which was also written by Chris Columbus shortly after this one, which is The Adventures of Young Sherlock Holmes.
Ah, and that was the first CGI stuff. Yeah.
Yep, some of the first CGI with ILM, which is going to be a great one to do a watch party for when we do In Search of Legends watch parties, because it's a Christmas fantasy adventure movie, and it's a shame that it never carried on into the sequels, because originally it was called Young Sherlock Holmes and the Pyramid of Fear.
Oh.
Quick, what movie is playing on the TV screen?
Isn't it something Pod People or something?
Oh my gosh, all of them.
Yeah.
So what
It's
would happen
Invasion of
if
the
you
Body
threw
Snatchers.
Mogwai in the sea?
Sorry?
I was going to
What
say.
would happen if you threw Mogwai in the sea?
Well, there's some stuff that's explained in the book and in some of the continuity. I was reading up on this earlier, that it has to be pure water for a Mogwai, like you could spill you could spill the Coke on the Mogwai and it wouldn't do anything, because you see them in some scenes, they consume not
Beer.
water liquids and
Right.
beer and things and soda and stuff, and they don't multiply.
That chicken looks so unappetizing.
That's
I know.
80s chicken.
No wonder there's a whole plate filled with it.
Exactly. Ugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Hannah, you are very correct. Frank Welker and Peter Cullen were in Transformers.
Mhm.
James is saying, so how does a swimming pool work? Hardly pure water. Maybe chlorine is the exception. I don't know.
They go over all of this in Gremlins 2, where they take the piss and joke about all the different things. What happens if you feed them at like...
David has just posted on the Discord and if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to be part of the Discord,
the link's on the YouTube channel for anyone.
The link's on the YouTube channel. But David's just posted a picture of a Miracle on Elm Street. But funny enough, the cinema we've booked for the premiere of In Search of Tomorrow is literally just down the street from the Elm Street house. Is that correct, Andrew?
That's correct.
Yep.
And you can take photos outside, but please do not walk up the path, up the driveway, etc. Be respectful of the residents of the house, but you can take photos outside.
Yeah, this is man. That's the tagline.
And in the remake that was done in the 70s of Invasion of the Body Snatchers,
which is amazing,
the same guy, the actor's name is totally skipping my brain at the moment, but he says the exact same line at the very beginning of the film, arguably making it not a remake, but a sequel.
The first time I watched that ending just sent shivers through me.
Yeah.
Well, you just ruined it for everyone now.
Now, who can link this film back to the Future, aside from just the shooting location? And we could do one of our infamous, Carla, one of our infamous shared universes here.
Yeah.
It's growing. The shared universe is growing.
This could be this could be potentially Hill Valley in a freak snowstorm. Because Billy's mom is Marty McFly's grandmother.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes. Yeah, she plays Lorraine's mother. Frances Lee McCain, she's the 80s mom. She was in Footloose, Back to the Future, Stand By Me.
Here's a confession. I've never seen Footloose. And my wife was like, what? We need to watch that movie.
You need to watch Footloose.
Oh my gosh.
Footloose is fantastic.
Yes. A must watch. Avoid the remake at all costs, but the original must.
I forgot there was
Aaron,
a remake.
I'm sorry I disappointed you.
James is saying Gremlins 2 is amazing. Andrew McCarthy, who was a Joe Dante regular. Joe Dante is I think, probably one of my all-time favourites. We've done a few Joe Dante movies this year. I mean, this is probably the last one we'll do this year, obviously. But wow, I mean, some of the movies of his we saw Inner Space this year, which is just such a good film.
Yes.
He's an
So he's done
amazing
American
director.
Werewolf?
And all of his
that's
films,
not Joe Dante.
all of his
Howling
films
is Joe Dante.
seem so difficult to make.
Yeah.
You know, and he talks about Gremlins in, I think it's the first In Search of Darkness, just it being like, you know,
How
really-
the puppets worked for all of 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. What is your favorite Joe Dante film? I asked the chat as well, but do you have a favorite that stands out?
I think mine is Gremlins 2.
I think for me, it's a tie between Inner Space and Explorers, possibly Inner Space just by a hair.
I'll have
yes, H.G. Wells just disappeared.
Yeah,
in
the H.G. Wells
background.
time machine just vanishes. And he's at the Inventors Convention saying they're a little bit better than me. There's people with time machines and
we totally
robots
missed
there.
it. Yeah, I
you
think
missed
that's
it.
Oh,
is that-
Robbie the robot turns up, doesn't he?
yeah,
Yes,
and
he's in
Steven
the later
Spielberg. Steven Spielberg makes a cameo,
That's
Is he?
right.
and Jerry
Yeah,
Goldsmith too.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg just made a cameo, like in a little
yeah,
car
Sparky
driving
John.
past.
That Sparky John posted in the chat.
There we go.
Oh, now Neil on YouTube here saying, "Love Matinee." Matinee is a great underrated Joe Dante film. A lot of people
haven't
forget about.
seen it.
Yeah,
Matinee is great.
It's got the guy from Roseanne. What's his name?
John Goodman.
John Goodman.
Yeah.
John Goodman.
And Robert Picardo's in it, in a bigger role in a Joe Dante film.
Yeah, I'd have to say mine is a close Explorers. It just did something for me as a kid growing up. So I have to say
I
Explorers.
think mine's Inner Space. Because it's still a great movie. It hasn't really dated. Like everything's still, even the practical effects,
Yeah,
look awesome.
exactly. And if you like Joe Dante, I think you can forgive me for saying this, Robin. There's some Joe Dante stuff in Search of Tomorrow.
There is, yeah. We did a new interview with him, and he's fantastic.
Yeah,
as always.
that's one to...
And he's actually been very kind to us because he's still a big deal, you know.
You can tell from when we've spoken to him, he's a big film fan. He loves movies.
Man,
Oh, this is almost Alien, isn't it? This is...
Yeah, almost
The
face
noises they
huggers.
make. Hide in
want a
that
copy of-
helmet, Gizmo.
There's
How
a
did
copy
they
of Fangoria on the floor
yeah,
there.
very cool.
Yeah. This definitely should have been PG-13. There's no way. I mean, this scene right here is very creepy.
And Phonics saying, I love the variation of the main theme here. I agree with you. It's good because it's kind of a bit distorting from the happy theme.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that Jerry Goldsmith did this. It didn't seem Jerry Goldsmith to me. I don't know, but it's great. I mean, he does the whole synth and with the full orchestra, and the theme is instantly recognizable. It's a great one. I think it's one of his best scores, but it just struck me like, oh, wow, he did this, and he did Poltergeist, and he does, what's it, Star Trek?
He's done so many.
Yeah.
It's impressive that he can go from whimsical and wholesome to sinister by like pitch shifting very slightly, like the alternative to the main theme in this. It's cute and adorable. Then you pitch shift it slightly, add some more synth to it, and it becomes horrifying. I guess it works in the same way that little girls' nursery rhymes in A Nightmare on Elm Street becomes suddenly freaky and sinister.
Right.
It's something innocent that's looked through a horrific lens, and all of a sudden it's scary.
You can tell obviously it's getting near Christmas. The teacher was doing the typical cop out, put a film on,
Exactly.
put something on.
Yep.
I don't really want to do any work for the last couple of days.
Yep.
I was furious. My teachers never did that. They were so competent. I hated them. I was always looking forward to the TV coming out, and it never did.
No, in English, he brought out Sound of Music. I remember that because that was the first time I ever saw Sound of Music.
Well, my actually English teacher in secondary school in the UK was all about films, and because I had satellite TV, I'd record films, and we'd end up watching a movie over a couple of classes just because he wanted to watch a movie. Like we watched Terminator 2. We watched.
I'm so jealous.
Loads of them.
Wow.
Didn't learn much. We just watched movies. Age inappropriate.
I did an A level in film studies, and I actually learned a lot. We really looked at sort of lots of like world cinema and like the classics and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what? There's still so much that I haven't seen.
You need to watch some Neil Breen movies. Yeah, there's an art to watching movies that are so horribly terrible. The so bad they're good movies often have taught me way more about filmmaking than watching the classics, because you see how difficult it can be to make a movie.
So
And I think it's
now,
a very underappreciated art.
I'm reading this amazing book about the film director Larry Cohen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's huge. It's a tome. It's called Of Gods and Monsters. And it's like listening to Larry Cohen, basically. The whole book is like an interview with him throughout his entire life. And it talks about him like meeting with Hitchcock and all of this. And he just decided to make movies his way, because he didn't have to do it, didn't use permits, did everything his way. And it's just so fascinating, like listening to these stories. So if there's any sort of 80s horror fans, try and pick that book up. It's a really good book.
But,
I say another one on that same wavelength. There's a Bruce Campbell one about the making of Evil Dead. If chins could kill, I think that's the title.
Now just go back to the movie. This scene was reshot at the request of Steven Spielberg, because the original version of it showed the high school teacher dead on his back with hundreds of syringes in his face, and Steven Spielberg said it was too dark. He exercised his creative control and had it changed to one syringe in the butt.
Yes.
But
he didn't step in. Yeah, he didn't step in too much in this film, because he was also filming Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom at around the same time. So he tried to give Joe Dante autonomy, but that scene in particular, he was like, no, changing it.
Well, we've got some great comments here from our YouTube chat and Discord chat. We've got Sharon. Sorry, Sharon mentioned a few minutes ago, if she saw all those cocoons in her house, she would be just out the door. Can't blame her for there.
Just burn the house down at that point.
Yeah, I probably would. Space Dinosaur, welcome to YouTube, is saying we watched Psycho as part of my high school English class. What? And James Hellier says playing the Gremlins theme over anything, and it makes it fun, very much like Yakety Sax, the Benny Hill music. And Neil Wally on YouTube says, anyone have Christmas parties at school? The best part was being sent to the teacher's lounge, forbidden territory, to get sodas. Well, that must be an American.
You all had cool times at school. Mine was boring. I'd have sat there and learned. I learned so well that I make up words.
So one thing I do seem to think is Gremlins, a Mogwai, when it becomes a Gremlin, seems to gain incredible strength. Because he just ran through a wooden door.
Right.
And now we're seeing...
there's that Dutch angle again.
Now, aside from maybe one scene later in the movie, we're seeing probably the most... all the horror in the movie is kind of condensed into about the next minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Yes. Where the mother goes all Ripley on us.
Yes.
Yeah. I like how she hears strange noises in the house where she knows they have pets, and her first instinct is grab the knife.
Yes. Yeah, but she's also thinking, it looks like the Nostromo upstairs. It looks like the ship from Alien, and there's big snot pods everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm still on a come down after our amazing Aliens watch party last Sunday with Ian Nathan.
That was a lot of fun. Oh, Sharon, this mom is the suburban Ripley. I think it's the motherly thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That she's protecting the house. Gremlin doing a little ET quote there.
This was supposed to be a sequel to E.T., actually. Spielberg had envisioned E.T. coming back with a lot of other E.T.s, causing mischief.
Running amok.
Yeah, but then he got a hold of Chris Columbus' script and was like, "Oh,
Well,
could do Gremlins."
James Henry is saying the mom gets the best scene in the whole movie. Space Dinosaur says, we watched Top Gun in biology class on Laserdisc. It's got a lot of tongue in it, so I can understand that.
Yes.
Nightmare Beast Gaming saying, I remember as a kid sitting in classroom watching Terminator 2 during PE class. That's great. And then Neil saying, does anyone else feel hungry when they see the gingerbread cookies made by the mom?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Yes. Now, for the scene for the tree, if you look closely, you can actually see a film crew person behind the tree shaking the tree.
Sorry, I just noticed, if you look on the wall behind her there, there's gremlin handprints as it was operating the stereo.
I think I had that exact lamp in my house. It's very fitting that the Gremlins attack the Peltzer household, though, because the whole aspect of Gremlins being in machines, and they're an inventing house with loads of different kooky gadgets that barely work. Wasn't the car supposed to be a gremlin as well?
I just keep looking at the carpet in this house thinking it looks so thick. Yeah. This 80s sink to your knees carpet.
Yeah, you drop an ounce of juice or soda in that carpet and you're never getting it out.
That's right.
At least it wasn't shag carpet from the 70s.
No.
See, now at this point, I would just leave the house.
I would be.
Be out.
I love the fact she's not that freaked out by it.
Yeah, she's battle ready.
Yeah. Someone has a little housewife aggression that she needs to get out, I think. Something.
I'm just going to reset my camera, everybody. 2 seconds.
Oh my God, the microwave scene. No.
Well, I don't know. It's the one in the back. If you look, the one in the back's writhing with a knife in him.
Yeah.
You still see the legs going. Nice.
Oh dear. Oh, that's awful.
I would never want to use that microwave again.
Nah, just throw it out.
I don't want to use that house again, to be honest.
Wise choice.
So really, she's killed all but Stripe now of the offspring of Gizmo.
Oh, and the one that... No, yeah.
No,
the one that's in the school.
And there's the school one running around somewhere. That's right, Hannah. Watching Aliens showed us that matriarchs are not to be messed with, human or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Good spot, James. There's a howling smiley face on the fridge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it just caught him.
Wow. I think, Andrew, I think you're right. I think they gained some sort of strength.
They must do.
Because...
Oh, they become very Looney Tune-esque in the sequel, don't they? So maybe they get cartoon logic.
That's right, Jesse. The detail in the puppets is tremendous. You could even see the puppets are breathing. Blowing his nose on the curtains.
Well, how would you guys felt if instead of Gizmo and Stripe being separate, that they stuck with the original script of Gizmo becoming Stripe, and then at the end, like reverting back to Gizmo?
It would be way harder to sympathize with Gizmo.
Yeah. It would almost be like that. You'd have to actually have some belief in that old Star Trek trope that, well, it wasn't his fault that he went evil and killed 57 people because he had
it was his nature.
It was an alien mind control. No, he just killed 57 people.
In search of cartoon logic.
Yes.
I don't know. I think, I'm not sure it's got quite the right ring to it.
I don't think so.
I mean, and it was funny because that went late into production. I mean, that's why in the middle of the movie, you don't really see Gizmo a lot. You see mostly the Gremlins, and Gizmo's like in the backpack or something like that. But
I want to sing a sci-fi legend there. That's Robbie the robot wearing a cowboy hat for some reason.
How many appearances? Because he was in Earth Girls Are Easy. Wasn't he Robbie the robot? Well, he must have a really good agent, I tell you.
Well, didn't Robbie the robot effectively spawn the robot from Lost in Space? He was sort of, because it's the same guy doing the voice, I believe.
I believe so. God, Robbie the robot. Oh God, what was the first thing I saw him in?
There's a movie from the 80s. If anyone else has heard about this, I will be so impressed. But the story was between like a little girl and a robot, and the movie was called Too Much. TOO much. Does anyone else remember that movie Too Much?
Look at that one.
Yeah, let's have a look. Too Much.
Here we are.
I remember finding some sort of very badly encoded version on YouTube.
I'll have to have a look for that one. But we're seeing here they're just going to the YMCA to try and track down.
Oh my gosh, I think I remember that. That little girl.
James is saying in YouTube, severed head screaming in the fire. Are we surprised it's a certificate 15? No, Mad Matt, we're not talking about Small Wonder. Small Wonder was the most evil program ever made.
Well, I found it, but I'll get in trouble if I post it.
Yes.
Because it's the full movie. So I'm trying to find. So it's 1987. And I want to see if I can post a trailer. If I can find that. Here we go. Oh, no.
Yeah, that little girl. I remember her. I remember that, Robin. Because I remember that little girl.
Yeah, Sharon's right. We won't mention Small Wonder ever again. No, we won't.
It's called Too Much, The Robot with a Heart, 1987.
Every time you say Small Wonder, Andrew, I keep thinking of Small Soldiers. Another Joe Dante movie.
Another great Joe Dante film, Small Wonder not. It was about a little... Carla remembers it, I'm sure.
What I can post is the IMDb.
Oh.
There you go.
5.5.
Yeah, James just saying, watch out for the time machine in the background at the expo.
A good old 80s trope, going to the cops and being ignored.
Yeah. Now,
stop going strong.
This scene and the events of this movie are referenced in another movie.
Okay, so Hannah Rose.
Oh, yeah.
And Carla knows what movie.
Please mute me if I can. Okay. You have permission. So Hannah Rose Artist has said, since we're on the topic of 80s genre film documentaries, what about a doc on 80s teen movies? Fast Times at Richmond High, many of John Hughes movies. Hold that thought, okay? All right, I'm just going to turn my video off for 2 seconds.
Okay. while waiting for Robin. Now, Carla.
Oh my God, it slipped my mind, but I remember it came up in another watch party. It was the
We've not done it.
newspaper. It was
Yeah,
the
but
newspaper.
Not just that. No. It's also probably your favourite movie it's referenced in.
Oh, it's not one of those, is it? Not one of the ones that I avidly despise.
In fact, Carla, I believe that that top you're wearing is from the movie.
What? Really?
Oh, it is. It is referencing.
The events of this movie are one of the tall tales that the police
Oh
say
yeah.
Chunk...
Oh yeah. Yeah. When Chuck
you
is
guys
trying
see
to...
that?
Nice.
Life moves pretty fast.
Yes.
Right, so it's on the back. It just says, "I know people who have changed their entire lives because of a line of dialogue from When Harry Met Sally." And when I say people, I obviously mean me. So basically, this book, which I haven't actually read, but I found it in a charity shop, and it says the name of the book is "Life Moves Pretty Fast." What a great name for a doc!
Yes.
The lessons we learn from 80s movies, and then it goes, and why we don't learn them from movies anymore. So I haven't read this, but just as a kind of pitch, this looked very clever.
Yes.
Is this something you would want to see in documentary?
Yes.
Life Moves Pretty Fast.
Yes.
Great name, isn't it?
It's a great name.
Oh, that's a good question from John in our Discord community, from Sparky John. What's everyone's favourite Dick Miller cameo?
Terminator, hands down. Terminator.
I kind of liked him in Chopping Mall too.
Oh yeah.
I think for me, in Explorers, and I just wish they'd expanded his role out a bit more in the final version of the movie. Because his character was so potentially important in the story.
I really like his cameo in The Howling as the silver bullet salesman.
I just love this. Some of the comedy we're seeing now.
The Terminator for me is because he's just so surprised. You know your guns, buddy.
James on YouTube is saying The Howling.
Yeah.
Hannah Rose Artist says Chopping Mall.
Chopping Mall is a great one. Does Gremlins 2 count? Because that's an amazing scene when he's fighting the bat gremlin in the street and no one cares.
That's a very last minute package that man's posting. Isn't it supposed to be Christmas Eve?
He clearly doesn't care that much about his family.
Clearly.
They'll get it when they get it.
Oh my gosh. I wonder how cops and police officers must feel when they watch these movies and they see themselves portrayed as idiots.
Well, I don't know, because it's small town cops, isn't it?
Right. But but they're always getting their butt kicked in like every horror film, pretty much.
Every action film as well. I mean,
Yeah.
even in Terminator, they don't believe that there's a cyborg from the future that's...
Well, another Christmas movie starring a cop is Die Hard. They do pretty well in Die Hard. Some of them do. Two of them do.
But they kind of don't necessarily believe him at first.
True. They do require a body to be thrown on the car for them to actually believe.
Right.
I like how they don't mention that. Do they mention that he's supposed to be dead?
Well, they just say it was a terrible accident. They don't necessarily say he's dead.
Yeah.
It's
Do they
implied
have a
he's
scene
dead.
of him at the end?
No,
I
you
can't
don't see
remember.
You don't see Dick Miller again in the film because it's implied he's dead. But they brought him back for the sequel because everyone just loved him.
Yes.
Oh, look at her hours of her business, Monday to Friday. Was it 10:30 to 11:15?
Yeah. Look at these grand portraits in her house.
It's hilarious. Did she named her cats after different currency? Different like
Drachma.
international currency or something?
She's so obsessed with money.
Yeah.
It's a crazy cat lady.
Yeah. And you know what our house smells like.
Oh, yes.
Sharon, I'm now on a mission to find the movie Too Much. It looks like it. Yeah, it is. It's not available on DVD and it's not streaming. It's just VHS. However, if you Google Too Much, you will find it. If you Google Too Much 1987.
Little glue
I love
sniffers.
this scene. I just love this with all the Gremlins carols singing outside. This is one of my favourite scenes, probably my favourite death in the film, and the most justified.
Yeah, it's so justified.
It really is.
I mean, this character was supposed to be sort of a play on an Ebenezer Scrooge type character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Neil's saying this is the best demise in cinema history, and I think everyone's like, yes! It's not like anyone could feel like sad about her death.
No.
Not at all. Shocked, sad, no. Poor Santa.
Oh, look how her feet are comically just in the air as well.
He's just noping out of that, isn't he? He's like, no.
So Andrew, I asked in the chat, what real life creature do we have to thank for the Gremlins that Chris Columbus got the idea for the movie from?
Right. And what was the, let's see, oh, wow. Matt, is Mad Matt correct?
Yes, Mad Matt is correct. It was actually mice. Chris Columbus was going to NYU school, film school. And so he lived in this apartment, and at night he would hear the skittering of mice. And so skittering around, and it was very, very creepy. And that's what inspired him to write the Gremlins.
Ah. Oh, they're great characters, the Gremlins. I mean, there's an interesting theory I saw that apparently is evident in Gremlins 2, that's one of these fan theories. Gremlins only attack people who are scared of them. In Gremlins 2, there's bits where if you're not afraid of them, they don't attack you, they just kind of mess with you.
Am I right in thinking, did Gremlins come out first and then there was Critters and Ghoulies?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Critters isn't like a rip-off of this. There's the script was written before this came out.
Right.
And everyone associates Critters with a Gremlins knockoff. But, I mean, it is. They made it more Critters-y because of this movie's reception.
Yeah. Now,
but the script itself wasn't a direct rip-off.
Now I'm going to wheel out a story that's related to all this. From my childhood, I've said on a watch party a long time ago. It was my sister's birthday. I think she was 10 or 11.
You need that music in the background.
Exactly.
Need some, yeah. And my father was diligently dispatched for her birthday party to go and hire a film from the local video store to watch with her friends. And he was sent to go and rent Goonies as the film for her friends to watch. He came back with Ghoulies. Much chaos ensued.
Not quite the same movie.
Not quite.
I remember watching Ghoulies at a friend's birthday party, and I must have been about 12.
You want to take my sister's birthday party, were you?
No, it was a guy. It was a guy called Jonathan. I remember that.
Well, my sister's not called Jonathan, so.
Well, then it won't. Yeah.
Can we just say that this scene, the amount of work
Amazing.
and dedication
Oh,
for
it's
each
brilliant.
gremlin to have his own thing, personality, they looked slightly different.
Yeah.
I mean, how
Very
many
Looney
puppeteers? Yeah, very Looney Tunes. I mean, how many puppeteers did it take to do this
Yeah.
scene?
We can see they're spilling
But
liquid
Joe-
on themselves there and they're not multiplying.
No, because it's beer.
Well, Joe Dante goes into detail in Search of Darkness about this scene, doesn't he? About how
Yeah.
they went talking about what can we do? What would a gremlin do? Let's have a Flasher gremlin. Let's have a Frank Sinatra gremlin and all that kind of stuff. I just love how for 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds of footage, they made a gag and it works. Like this bladder gremlin with his belly just expanding, it was used for a very small amount of time, but the puppeteers put time and effort into it, made it
Mhm.
work, and it's something you remember.
Yes. Hannah Rose says, the more I watch, the more I'm convinced the gremlins are based on drunk frat boys who've had one too many.
So we're just seeing a moment that one gremlin is dressed like Mrs. Deagle.
Oh, that's messed up. That's wrong. Wow.
That picture Sparky Johns just posted is like the end of a hunt.
It is.
They got them all.
Oh, I love this. He's just sat there smoking, listening to jazz. And he's...
I was gonna say
Butler Jack.
the one gremlin that's missing is a Michael Jackson gremlin. But was Michael Jackson really big? Like Thriller didn't come out until after this, right?
84? No, Thriller was 82, I think.
In 82? Okay. Yeah, because no, Michael Jackson was big because he was big with E.T. in 82. So yeah, I'm surprised they didn't have like a Michael Jackson gremlin.
Well, this is a...
Jane Fonda or
Is it Jane? Or is it... No, or is it Flashdance?
oh, Flashdance, yes.
Flashdance and or Fame, it would be.
Right.
Oh, I can see some of the wires.
I just think this is tremendous. The effort and the
Yeah.
puppetry that went into this is incredible.
Now I know gremlins are supposed to be the bad, but they're having a really great time. Like who
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah.
want to be a gremlin at this point? Because it's like you're partying, you're doing whatever you want to do.
I would say I've had nights out that have made this look tame before in my distant dark past.
Your distant dark past.
Yes, when I was a young man. Oh,
I didn't know a Polaroid camera could have such a powerful flash.
well, they were chemical flashes. They're not electronic flashes. They were a chemical flash. It was the battery would make the flashes were disposable in Polaroids back then, so you'd change the flash module on them.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
And also, she's probably just, with how expensive Polaroids were, she's probably spent about $50 on Polaroid photos.
You know they're making a comeback, right? I've seen some Polaroid cameras
Yeah.
pop up.
And then everyone will realise how bad they were.
Mm.
Mad Max, she only has 10 shots in that loaded weapon. That's right. And we've got James on YouTube saying his father rented Beverly Hills Cop for him because he liked the Police Academy films. And then Reuven saying, don't forget Hobgoblins was one of my first original VHSs.
Mm-hmm.
Hobgoblin. Someone needs to post that. I've never seen that.
Yeah,
The 80s.
Yeah, you don't want to watch Hobgoblins.
You're not missing out much.
I'm not sure. My camera keeps defocusing. I'm too shiny today. Maybe they raided a video store. How the Gremlins knew all these references. Yeah, Shan saying, makes me wonder how these Gremlins knew all these references having been born moments prior.
Right, there was no internet back then.
That's right.
No Google.
No Google. Okay, let's try and justify it. Let's use some of my justification. They all come from Gizmo. Gizmo is effectively the top parent. When they're born, do they share some of the knowledge? Because Gizmo knew a lot of pop culture. Gizmo watched a lot of TV. He knew a lot of these references. And then because they came from Gizmo and Stripe, the memories are passed down to them. Because they do seem to wake up in the world with certain skills associated with them.
It's a decent enough explanation. I'll allow it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I concur.
Yep.
Here's the most
Genetic
epic
memory.
Here's the most epic moment of this film. Phoebe Cates' Oscar-worthy monologue.
Even Gizmo's like, I don't like where this is going.
Right.
Hobgoblins, by the way, has got a score of 2.3 on IMDb with 13,000 ratings. So
it's horrifically bad.
Watch the riff track of it.
Good bad or bad bad?
It's bad.
So watch the riff track version of it.
Yeah.
You know, her story is not. I remember hearing on the news about someone who died because they were trying to come down the chimney on Christmas. So it's unfortunately not uncommon.
No.
I love how his smokeless ashtray is just huffing out. Like,
but they were a big thing in the 80s, smokeless ashtrays. They were basically an ashtray that had a vacuum fan in the bottom of them you'd turn on.
Ah, yes.
He's like, I don't know if I'm more creeped out by the Gremlins or my girlfriend who just told this weird story.
Well, no, he's thinking, do I want her to be my girlfriend? Because they're kind of just forming part of the relationship. You know, is she going to ruin Christmas every year?
Vroom, vroom.
Hannah Rose Artist says, I get why they kept it in, but it seemed a bit unnecessary and tonally distant from the rest of the film. But that's just me, though. Yes, the girlfriend is creepier. At least with the Gremlins, you know where you stand.
I can't remember what her story is in Gremlins 2 because she has a similar moment, doesn't she?
I think they cut her off in it. I think it's almost a joke from memory. She gets halfway through saying, and someone very politely says, enough crap. Now this is very interesting because this is a Warner Brothers film that they would show Snow White
This was in the 80s, though, when Disney wasn't, they didn't go through their 90s boom yet. So they were a lot weaker.
No, but it still is interesting them showing Disney back then, because, I mean, there were a lot of rights to jump through for Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which came shortly after this. But I love this scene.
Is this going to be what our premiere looks like, Robin?
I think so, Dom.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, just Dom, as a Brit transported to America, I just want to say this to you. Maltesers are better than Whoppers.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Maltesers are... Yeah, I may have imported myself to America, but I hold true that British candy is superior vastly.
Yes.
I just went down the whole Hobgoblins rabbit hole.
Oh dear.
I feel like I must watch it now.
No, don't do it.
It was filmed in a week on a budget of $15,000.
And it feels like it.
Snow White was the first film I remember seeing in the theater when they did the re-release. I think it was in 82 or 83. My first film theater experience.
Yeah, Mad Max for the reference. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, Gizmo knows the song. So is that supporting my theory that he knows the song from something and they know it because he knows it?
No, I think old grandpa probably is a big Disney fanatic and had it on repeat in the store.
There's one of them. Sorry, there's one of them wearing a Disney ear hat. There.
Yeah,
wearing a Mickey hat. So we've got what we got here. We've got Hannah saying, "Murder and mayhem aside, the Gremlins seem like they're a fun crowd." I'd go with that. And Sharon wants to know, Dom, how were you transplanted to the US, and what are the good and bad things about being in the UK versus America?
Good things about being in the UK versus good things about being in America. Well, spoiler alert, I chose to live here. My positives for England are far and few. I can always get a good curry in England. So that's the one thing I miss, getting a good curry whenever I feel like it. Fish and chips is also a great, like just going to the chippy and getting whatever you want there is something I miss dearly. But I transplanted myself to the US because when I was a child, my mother took me to Florida's Disney World to help me cope with the loss of my father, because he died when I was very young. I also gained diabetes when I was very young.
Wow.
So when I went to Florida, I don't know what happened, but my diabetes was seemingly non-existent. The doctors told me it was temperature differences, and I was very early in stages of my diabetes. But since then, I kind of inadvertently fell in love with the culture and the fact that it miraculously made my diabetes easier to manage somehow. And I've been working on immigrating for the last decade. And I slowly came over here, piece by piece, getting a house and meeting the love of my life accidentally while going to see The Evil Dead, the musical. Horror really did bring my wife and I together.
There we go.
Nice.
Or
the gift that
I'm
keeps
looking
on
forward
giving.
to the US trip for the premiere. I'm really excited about that.
And now we're seeing the second time, the first time that we would see this cinema damaged. Because the very next year, the front of the cinema would be damaged by Marty McFly when he crashed the DeLorean into the front of it.
And that poor cinema.
But then in 1988, I believe, when they were making, just before they made Back to the Future 2, it actually burnt down in one of the many fires the backlot has had.
I always thought that was the concession stand as a kid. I thought, why is it so far away from the theater? But it's a toy store, isn't it?
It just seems strange a toy store would have so much candy in the window.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember those toys. That toy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So Stripe just said Gizmo, didn't he? Like Gizmo.
Yeah.
The subtitles here said kill.
Yeah.
Go in the front. Oh wait, no, it's probably going to be closed. Can't go in the front door, can you?
Yeah, the door's probably locked. I do love this. He's still not giving up his candy, even though he knows he's being chased.
Maybe like Popeye, eating after midnight empowers the gremlins.
No, I think he just eats like a 10-year-old, doesn't he?
Pretty much.
The scene with the chainsaw is phenomenal, and he's gliding across the ground.
Just realised, in any of the Gremlins movies, we don't see Gizmo eat.
No? In any of them, like there's more than 2.
In either of them.
Poor Gizmo. Hungry boy. Then again, he refuses chicken in this movie, so it clearly isn't that hungry.
Maybe he's vegan.
Could be. Oh, what game is that on the shelf down there? Is that
Atari something, wasn't it?
It's an Atari game.
Oh, I can't really see. It's not E.T., I know that.
Yeah, it doesn't have the E.T. cover.
Oh, that was a big thing back then. Look, I remember going to department stores where they'd have a camera hooked up to a TV, and it's like, see yourself on TV. And, everyone going...
Yep. And then trying to catch themselves in the back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a sodding clue of what to do in this room if I found myself there. Yeah, I guess I'd just flick all the switches.
Pretty much.
That's right. Neil says that that department store is far too stocked and far too clean for post-closing Christmas Eve. I'll admit, considering it is Christmas Eve, that does look very well stocked, especially in the toy department.
Mm-hmm.
But got a question, well, I think from Sparky John, a question for our audience here is, what's the most disgusting thing anyone has found or seen in a cinema?
Oh. Ooh.
We're seeing the Warner influence there with the Looney Tunes toys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lizardman noticed Stripe hiding right behind E.T.
Mm.
James is saying, just turn the lights on. I think she's trying to, but she doesn't know where all the light switches are. Here, they must have enhanced strength, Carl, like we say, because he's just thrown that saw blade, and it's
into the wall.
Well, we know where Billy got his tricycle idea from.
Yes. The big fight was supposed to be between Billy and Stripe, but they were like, no, let's make it between Gizmo and Stripe. But, you know, Billy is responsible for all of this.
Yes.
He is.
Well, no. Corey
Feldman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Corey Haim isn't responsible for anything.
Not in this film.
No. Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh. Yeah, I've been hit by one of those. It was a tennis ball projector, though, not say a baseball projector, because that would have hurt so much more.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Where does
I like
that-
the fact as well. He's even found
a crossbow.
gremlin appropriate sized crossbow.
Right, exactly.
One of my pals, who's a fantastic artist called Anthony Galatis, just posted a couple of pictures of us, which I've shared on the 80s horror Instagram stories. I'm totally sidetracking stuff, but you know we had Aliens yesterday. Let's say Aliens on Sunday. The art book that I bought didn't arrive until Monday, but it actually has some of Anthony's work in it. And when we finish this movie, I'll get the I'll show you the book. It is phenomenal. If you're a fan of Aliens, this book is like, there's loads of artists who have done sort of alternative artwork based on being inspired by Aliens. It's phenomenal. So thank you, Anthony.
Anthony's a bit of a legend. Oh, we've got a question from Riley Reese on Facebook. I'm confused. Mrs. Deagle, who gave Peltzer a mouth of claptrap in the bank, is the same Mrs. Deagle who gets launched out the window. I should know all this, right? Yes, it's the same Mrs. Deagle. She's a shareholder in the bank, and she's obsessed with money, and she gets thrown out the roof of her house after they fiddle with her what are they called? Electric stair
lift.
Stair lift. That's it. Thank you, Dom. Oh.
Oh, the puppetry work is so good.
No,
Really is.
This movie absolutely stands up on all the
does.
effects now. Insane. 35 years later.
It's so emotive, though. Like every action that Stripe has, you can feel every part of it. It's great.
like it's just,
Oh, wow.
just chest is
Sorry.
going up and down, breathing.
I don't know if you just noticed what was going to happen. I've never seen that before because I've never really. Cause the subtitles showed me what Rockin' Ricky said. I wasn't really listening to it previously. The Marines are going to be there with fire hoses to turn them on the monsters. That would have made the situation a bit more
Worse.
interesting.
Also, how did they come up with that solution? Like, we kill monsters by turning on water hoses? I would
Just
say
spray 'em down.
flamethrowers.
I suppose if they thought it was, I think maybe they thought it was like people rioting. So, like with people rioting, you may turn fire hoses on them to try to knock them back, but not hurt them. Because he didn't say that it's actually people rioting. It's monsters. There's something happening in the town.
See, this is where we need the Monster Squad, right? We need
Yes.
to call it the Monster Squad.
Well, the Monster Squad are also in that town. Don't forget.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I dread to think what your home insurance premiums are like living in Kingston Falls or Hill Valley or whatever it's called with everything.
Poor mushroom. Ugh.
Oh. Oh, this is really quite horrific, this scene.
Yeah. It reminds me of Fright Night.
I was going to say, who else is thinking Fright Night?
Yeah.
Or Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. Arf, said the subtitle.
Oh.
Ugh, the noises as well.
Yeah.
There we go. That's Spielberg, Chris Columbus.
Ooh, that's an interesting... late to the party, but Aaron's just joined us. He's saying, does anyone die in Gremlins? Well, yes,
Off
Mrs.
screen.
Deagle.
Yes.
No, Mrs. Deagle died on screen.
Yeah.
The cops surely don't survive either.
Right.
Question about the cops. And Murray, maybe, but that gets retconned.
The teacher, right? The science teacher.
The teacher, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Aaron's saying
that's so good. Those effects are so good, so gnarly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love the dog.
Oh, there you go. Sparky John's come back with the body count in Gremlins officially is 5 humans and many gremlins. James, Neil Whaley's saying a Fright Night watch party, and James Helly is saying this sequence very Fright Night. Neil, if you go back through our YouTube channel, you will find we did a Fright Night party with Twisted, which was a lot of fun.
Yes.
You can go back after we finish tonight and watch that.
We've got to plug tomorrow's event.
We will. We will. Just as we come to the end of this, Robin, we'll hit the credits and then we'll get into tomorrow. Because it's this is our Christmas party. We always do like to do these special watch parties on. We did one for Halloween and we've done one for Christmas, but the main watch party for this week will be tomorrow with some extra stuff happening as well for backers.
And then he instantly starts chewing it.
Yeah, that's what happened as a kid, isn't it? Like, don't chew that.
Little green man.
Moolah.
Barbara. Oh, wow. Sharon's asking about the backer event tomorrow. All the backers from Inserted Darkness 3 have been emailed. So please check your spam folder. And if you haven't got it, in fact, do you know what, Sharon, if you don't have it, Carla can send you the link. So Carla, you've got the link, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tomorrow there's going to be two events. We've got a backer event for the backers of In Search of Darkness Part 3, which is exclusive to them. You will have received, like we say, the link via email. And for the general public, and of course for our backers, straight afterwards, we have another watch party tomorrow. I will be hosting Puppet Master with the amazing Cecil from Good Bad Flicks.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a lot of fun.
Brilliant. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Now, do you guys still tear up at the goodbye?
Yeah.
When Gizmo finally talks? Bye, Billy.
Bye, Billy.
My heart, my cold, dark stone of a heart.
Lizard Man saying, poor Billy and Gizmo, they really became friends over this movie, but Billy in Gremlins 2 is ready to look after Gizmo.
Yes. Good job, too, because Gizmo gets evicted. Man at the gas station trying to sell me.
Wow.
I quite like this though, as you hear Gizmo basically having a conversation with him as he's walking up the road. You can tell that he really does care for.
It's like he's telling his
Well-
dad all the fun he had with
Yeah.
his mates, isn't
All
it?
the stories.
Well, Billy still has his weirdo girlfriend, so he still
Yeah.
has that. And look at that matte painting.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's gorgeous.
Lovely. Of course, it's a Christmas movie.
It is.
Mm.
Well, that's the end credits. We've seen this fantastic score. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It's been amazing. So tomorrow, though, we've got, like I say, the backer event and then a watch party straight after for Puppet Master. So, Robin, while we've got you for the last few minutes, if the community's got any questions for you, I will relay them to you. Or questions for anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just caveat that with just to give everyone a heads up, the last like 2 or 3 weeks, we've put together a strategy which will be the biggest, most significant change to the kind of strategy of CREATORVC. And I haven't been this excited about something for ages. Getting to sort of put these projects together, put this team together and kind of hang with you guys and just all the feedback we get. We've learned so much, but In Search of Darkness 3 was really a massive eye-opener for me because I going into that campaign, I was very nervous because I didn't know if the proposition behind co-curation, i.e. letting our audience choose what films we feature, would land, and it totally landed. And I think that I've got to say big kudos to Carla, who managed that survey process. It was absolutely spectacular, but we've got to listen to that. And so I think that every successful kind of company or entity or whatever you want to look at us, like an organization probably, has to have a North Star, right? And we have a North Star, and we're going to start really moving in the direction of that North Star. And the other thing every kind of really successful, holistically kind of organization needs to have is it needs to be doing something good, and so we're rewriting our mission statement. We're going to be making some changes to how the community operates, but not stopping watch parties or anything like that. Just it's all about bringing more people together and sort of coalescing all the different discords and all of that kind of stuff into sort of one unit, and having the community filter through all these discussions that happen on Facebook and Twitter and Discord are all happening disparately, and we want to bring everything, we want to align everything, so we're bringing everybody together around the conversations of 80s and 90s movies, and also in the co-curation and co-creation of all of our projects moving forward. And really that's the big idea in it. And we've laid out a strategy for what we're going to do, and I'm just really excited about it. So I thought I'd talk to you a bit about it today, and I've done that. And we've mentioned In Search of Legends. The team at CREATORVC is the best team I've ever worked with, and things are escalating. And I'd love for you to work with us a bit more closely, I suppose is the right way to put it. We want to listen to you, and actually that plural you, there's more of you out there that we want to bring inside. I mean, one of the eye-openers recently was with In Search of Tomorrow. People that have backed like previous In Search of projects, they get a super backer pin. And actually it was the first time that we had the amount of numbers, like the many thousands of people that have just like supported what we're doing. And I'm like, that's our core audience. That's who we need to make our co-producers. That's who we want to serve. And I think that becomes a very interesting, unique, cooperative business where we're actually, not broadcasting, we're serving a very dedicated audience and just learning and taking ideas to them, and other people coming to us with ideas. And we're saying, we like this idea. What do you guys think about it? Do you want us to make it? And that's really kind of the vision. So everything's all working together. So I think all of our backers on some level, I would like you to feel like you're virtual crew members, you know, your virtual producers helping us to decide what to create, how to create it. And certainly within Search Legends, 100% we're going to speak to the audience. We're going to speak to our backers, our super backers, about which movies, like all sorts of stuff. So it's going to be, some changes coming soon. We'll talk about it in a bit more detail, but I'm really excited. And it's just great when you've got a vision, you know?
Exactly. Just to close off, got a couple of things I want to say to our community. Thank you everyone who joined us today from both Discord and YouTube. It's great that we're starting to have a YouTube audience of commenters growing. James, wonderful. Yeah, you'll find Fright Night 2 in the archives, but if you go through the archives, you'll find all our watch parties there available to revisit at any time.
If anyone's got any questions, do let me know as well.
Yes, exactly. And Mad Matt says, how close are we to the 100th watch party? Well, the 100th watch party, so tomorrow will be the 99th watch party, which means Sunday, December 26th, which will be an In Search of Tomorrow watch party, will be the 100th.
Wow.
And David Weiner will be joining me for The Black Hole for that one, which is going to be pretty good, and I can't wait for that one. So we've got a lot on the horizon. Of some great movies coming up. We've got some great stuff planned with the community. Everyone, I can't wait to hear from you tomorrow, to see you all tomorrow. Please join us for Puppet Master. And then, of course, hopefully join me for the Black Hole. But if you don't, and if you can't, have a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year, and stay safe and be kind to each other.
Yeah.
So I'll give
Thanks
the last
so much,
words.
everybody.
Yeah, I just want to say I've had the best time in the chat with the community. You guys are great. You guys, what makes this all work and what makes it worth showing up every week. I will be taking a much needed vacation over the next couple of weeks. So I will be here for tomorrow's event and watch party, but then I won't see you until next year. So I just want to say, if I don't see you tomorrow, happy holidays and see you in 2022.
Dom, any last words?
Thank you all for being so kind and warm and welcoming to this little nerd who wasn't born in the 80s talk about his favorite 80s movies. You're all wonderful people, and you're the reason why this community is here. You are this community. It's always great to turn up on a Sunday or a Saturday, as it is today, and just kick back and have fun with everyone. You're all wonderful.
Everyone stay safe, take care of each other, have a wonderful time however you celebrate, and we'll see you tomorrow and in 7 days. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.